This is my 2020 Intel-based MacBook Pro 13-inch, and today is the 1-year mark since I bought it. So I'm gonna let you guys know about the goods, the bads, the things I liked, and the things I did not very much like about it. So first, aesthetics. As you will expect from Apple, this product is typical of the MacBook lineup in its sleek and amazing design. The design language is pretty good on this thing, just like on the 2019 MacBook Pro. In talking about aesthetics, we cannot forget about thermals because the two are tightly related, very tightly related. So because of the all-aluminum design Apple has given this thing, it made some compromises in terms of thermals. So in real-world applications, this thing, even watching 4K YouTube or 1440p YouTube, for example, would go up to 70 degrees or something like that, and the fans will start to ramp up to about 2000 RPM. Now 2000 RPM isn't a lot, you might say, but when you are listening to audio and watching some videos, it can become a little bit distracting. Now let's get on with the hardware specs of this thing. So this has a 10th gen Ice Lake Intel CPU. More specifically, it's an Intel Core i5 1038NG7, which has a base speed of 2.0 GHz and can spin up to 3.3 GHz on all cores or 3.8 GHz on one core. Speaking of cores, this thing has 4 cores and 8 threads and is based on the 10nm process node. Given that this is a 10th gen chip, it is equipped with the Iris Plus graphics. More specifically, it's the G7 variant of the Iris Plus graphics. So it is the most powerful integrated graphics on 10th gen chips. In real world applications, it can give a 15 or even 20% advantage over the previous integrated graphics from Intel. As for the display, it has a 2560 by 600 IPS LCD panel rated at 500 nits peak brightness, and it comes with the Retina display technology from Apple. So it includes things as a True Tone display and such. This processor is rated at 28 watts TDP by Intel, but it can ramp up to 40 or even 45 watts under load. Moving on to RAM, this thing has a total memory of 16 gigs of low-profile DDR4X memory running at a whopping 3733 MHz. As for the battery, it has a 65 watt-hour battery. But given the high TDP of this processor, instead of achieving the 6 hours advertised by Apple, I only got 2 to 3 hours out of my machine. As for this keyboard, it's much better than the 2019 model because, as you can see, it's using the Magic Keyboard style of switches rather than the flat keyboards of the 2019 model, which turned out to be quite a disaster for Apple. So it's much more comfortable to type on, and for me, it has better accuracy than, well, most keyboards to be. This, I will call this the most outstanding improvement over the 2019 MacBook Pro. Now moving on to the trackpad. The Force Touch trackpad as advertised by Apple. It is pretty amazing as well. I mean, the tracking is good, and the general feel and fit and finish of this trackpad, it looks pretty nice and feels amazing too. So it receives a 9.9 out of 10 in my book. It is so enjoyable to swipe and to touch. Yeah, in short, it's amazing. What about speakers then? They must be pretty good, right? Well, to tell you the truth, yes. Let me show you. So we are playing the songs. So we are playing the song Summer, and as you can hear, it's pretty awesome. I don't know if the microphone is capturing it, but from sitting in front of the computer, it's truly amazing, the sound quality. So it's got both speakers, one here, 2 bars, and that gives you a 180-degree sound. Plus, there's a screen in front, right? So the sound comes out from here and bounces from the screen to your ear. So it's pretty satisfying listening to this computer. Yeah, we're gonna pause it there, and that's it for the speakers. They are pretty nice. And now, let's talk about something not very favorable to the 2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch, as well as many MacBooks from the MacBook lineup. Price to performance. Now, I bought this machine a year ago in July at $24.99 US. That's not very cheap for a laptop, especially of this caliber. Like, the specs are not very amazing, and it does not live up to its Pro name. Now, some of you may argue this was the strongest Mac when it launched, but only for a couple weeks, because 3 weeks after this particular model launched, the M1 MacBook Pros came out, and the Intel chips just could not stand up to the M1s, because the M1s are truly awesome. Even today, one of these will cost $12.99 US for the base model, with only 512 gigs of storage, and otherwise the same configurations. So bottom line then, should you buy this even secondhand? No. Just go right ahead and buy M1. It's cheaper and way more performant than this.